Skinwalker Ranch Night Vision Entities. The invisible presence at Skinwalker Ranch. Investigators documented creatures visible only through night vision, invisible to the naked eye, yet physically present. Long before dawn breaks over the high desert of northeastern Utah, investigators stand in the darkness of Skinwalker Ranch, their eyes scanning an empty field. Through their night vision equipment, however, the field is anything but empty. A large figure moves deliberately through the grass, clearly defined in the green-tinted display. The investigator lowers the device and looks with unaided eyes at the exact same location. Nothing. The field appears completely vacant. The equipment reveals what human perception cannot detect, something physically present yet invisible to normal sight. This is not an isolated incident. This is a documented pattern that spans decades of investigation at one of the most scientifically scrutinized locations in paranormal research. Skinwalker Ranch sits on approximately 512 acres in Utah's Uinta Basin, a region with a long history of unexplained phenomena. The property gained significant research attention in 1996 when the National Institute for Discovery Science, known as NIDS, began a comprehensive scientific investigation of reported anomalies. What the NIDS team documented during their years of study included a phenomenon that challenges fundamental assumptions about the nature of reality, entities and occurrences that exist in specific electromagnetic spectra while remaining completely invisible in others. The NIDS investigators approach their work with scientific methodology. They deploy night vision equipment as standard investigative practice, understanding that human visual perception represents only a narrow band of the electromagnetic spectrum. What they discover goes far beyond simply seeing better in darkness. They document entities that appear exclusively in infrared and night vision ranges while producing no visible light whatsoever. One investigator experiences this phenomenon directly. Standing in a field on the ranch property, he observes his surroundings through night vision equipment. A large figure appears in the display, moving through the field with purposeful motion. The form is clearly defined, substantial, and undeniably present in the night vision image. The investigator lowers the equipment and immediately looks at the same location with his unaided eyes. The field appears empty, no figure, no movement, nothing that corresponds to what the equipment clearly shows. He raises the night vision device again. The figure remains visible, continuing its movement through the grass. He lowers the device. The field is empty. The investigator stands mere meters from something his technology detects, but his eyes cannot perceive. The entity exists in a spectral range outside normal human vision. Another documented encounter involves a creature moving at significant speed through brush on the property. Multiple investigators observe the movement clearly on night vision equipment. The entity moves with velocity and purpose, its form distinct against the background vegetation. Investigators looking at the same location without equipment see nothing. The brush moves, suggesting physical displacement, but the entity itself remains invisible to unaided observation. These encounters establish a pattern that NIDS researchers document repeatedly throughout their investigation. The phenomena at Skinwalker Ranch demonstrate what investigators term spectral selectivity, the characteristic of appearing in specific electromagnetic bands while remaining absent in others. This is not a matter of low light conditions making visual observation difficult. These are entities that emit or reflect infrared and thermal radiation while producing no visible light under identical environmental conditions. The implications are scientifically significant. If something appears on night vision equipment, it is interacting with infrared radiation. If it appears on thermal imaging, it possesses a heat signature different from its surroundings. These are physical properties that can be measured, quantified, and analyzed. Yet the same entities produce no visible light, suggesting they do not reflect wavelengths in the human visual range of approximately 380 to 750 nanometers. When the current investigation team assumes research operations at the ranch, they expand the multispectral approach significantly. Understanding that previous documentation revealed spectral selectivity, they deploy coordinated arrays of cameras capturing different electromagnetic bands simultaneously. Thermal cameras detect infrared radiation emitted by objects based on their temperature. Night vision equipment amplifies available light and operates in near-infrared ranges. Standard visible spectrum cameras capture the same wavelengths human eyes perceive. This comprehensive instrumentation allows researchers to determine precisely which electromagnetic bands specific phenomena occupy. On multiple occasions, the current team documents aerial phenomena on thermal and night vision equipment that do not appear whatsoever on standard visible spectrum cameras positioned at the same location, pointing at the same airspace, recording at the same time. The documentation is methodical and redundant. Multiple camera systems capture the same event from different positions using different technologies. When an object appears on thermal imaging and night vision, but not on visible spectrum cameras, the data provides clear evidence of spectral selectivity. The phenomenon exists in infrared bands, but not in visible wavelengths. Investigators analyze the footage frame by frame. The thermal signature indicates an object with temperature differential from the surrounding atmosphere. The night vision capture confirms presence in near-infrared spectrum. The visible spectrum cameras, operating properly and recording clearly, show empty sky. Whatever moves through the airspace above Skinwalker Ranch on these documented occasions exists in a spectral range that human eyes, unaided by technology, cannot detect. The psychological impact on investigators is documented as considerable. Standing in proximity to something that equipment detects but human senses cannot perceive creates profound unease. The investigator in the field knows, through technological confirmation, that something large and mobile is near him. His eyes insist nothing is there. The contradiction between technological detection and sensory perception creates cognitive dissonance that several investigators report as deeply disturbing. This is not fear of the unknown. This is fear of the present but imperceptible. The entities are not distant or theoretical. They are physically proximate, moving through the same space the investigators occupy, detectable through instrumentation, yet invisible to direct observation. Investigators attempt various interventions. When night vision equipment reveals an entity, they shine flashlights at the location. The entity continues its movement unaffected. They call out, making their presence known. No response. The entities documented in night vision encounters do not demonstrate awareness of or reaction to investigator presence. They move according to their own patterns, following trajectories that appear purposeful but are not influenced by human intervention. This lack of interaction provides additional data. Whatever these entities are, they either do not perceive investigators or do not consider them significant enough to alter their behavior. They traverse the property as if the research team does not exist. The NIDS investigation documents these patterns across multiple years. The current investigation, utilizing more advanced and comprehensive instrumentation, confirms the pattern continues. The spectral selectivity is not a historical anomaly. It is an ongoing characteristic of phenomena at the location. Researchers begin developing protocols specifically designed to maximize detection probability. If entities consistently appear in infrared and thermal ranges, deploying cameras optimized for those spectra increases the likelihood of documentation. The night vision encounters, initially puzzling anomalies, become the foundation for strategic instrumentation deployment. The scientific value of spectral selectivity lies in its testability. Claims of paranormal phenomena often resist systematic investigation because they lack consistent, measurable parameters. The Skinwalker Ranch night vision documentation provides something different, a repeatable pattern with specific physical characteristics. Phenomena appear at particular electromagnetic wavelengths. This is data that can be quantified, analyzed, and used to generate testable hypotheses. Why would entities exist primarily in infrared spectrum? Several theoretical frameworks attempt explanation. Some researchers propose that the entities exist in dimensions or states of matter that interact minimally with visible light, but significantly with infrared radiation. Others suggest the phenomena might be plasma-based, with thermal and electromagnetic properties that fall outside visible wavelengths. None of these hypotheses have been confirmed, but the documented spectral selectivity provides parameters that any valid theory must accommodate. The investigation continues. Current research teams maintain constant multispectral monitoring of the property. Banks of cameras operating across different electromagnetic bands record continuously, waiting for the next appearance. Each documented incident adds to the database, building a comprehensive profile of spectral characteristics. The night vision entities of Skinwalker Ranch represent something rare in paranormal investigation, phenomena with consistent, measurable physical properties documented across multiple independent research efforts spanning decades. The entities might be invisible to the naked eye, but they are not invisible to scientific instrumentation. They leave thermal signatures. They reflect infrared radiation. They displace air and vegetation as they move. These are physical interactions that demand physical explanations, even if those explanations challenge current scientific understanding of what exists in the narrow band of reality human senses can directly perceive. If you found this case compelling, subscribe to Vanishing Roads for more documented paranormal investigations from around the world. This story was created with AI assistance based on documented case files. All events reference real investigations and reported incidents.